So it's a good thing that COVID-19 catalyzed the revolution of remote work. But I've noticed a concerning trend of more aspiring investors wanting to work fully remotely for a hedge fund. And in this video, I want to argue why you should not seek a fully remote work environment as a junior buy-sider. Let's dive into the 5 reasons why not. So for many of you who aspire to a long-term career in investing, you're probably thinking of fundamental research as primarily about modeling and reading. I hate to bust that myth for you. Modeling and reading are the most commoditized aspect of the job. To say it bluntly, from a vantage point of a portfolio manager, I can always hire a junior banker kid to run the numbers. And perhaps this dangerous mindset is most prevalent within the typical candidates from investment banking and to lesser extent from equity research. If you believe as long as you can model and write perfectly, you can work remotely and add value to your firm, you cannot be more mistaken. Investing is a thinking business. It's not the modeling that generates profit for the firm, regardless of your personal investment style. It is having variant view on the assumptions that turn out to be correct that generate value for the firm. Investing is not formulaic. If it were, all the opportunities will be arbitrage away. For anyone who has had experience spanning at least 1 or 2 market cycles, they possess significant pattern recognition ability. That helps them make better decisions than the amateurs. And these pattern recognition and experiences are challenging to acquire remotely because most investment professionals are better doers than they are as teachers. Otherwise, we will have a world full of Warren Buffett, Seth Klarman, and Howard Marks, whose writing have inspired many of us. Even then, renowned investors like Warren Buffett and Howard Marks, they have penned numerous memos and letters. And yet, when you are faced with a new investment situation, you will still struggle because the new situation at hand has its own unique nuances. And therefore, you must learn through observation in person, where you get to witness firsthand how your PM or senior analyst operates, how they pitch ideas, how they manage risk. And these insights are significantly diluted when you're observing through some sort of email observation or a phone call. And for those of you who have watched enough stock pitch competitions, you know it is the Q&A session that comes after the actual pitch that offer the most value for your learning. And that is barely captured in a written conversation or in a virtual meeting. You need to be physically present to grasp how the thesis are challenged, how the risk is managed when things inevitably go wrong. If you merely aspire to be just a modeling monkey without being compensated for your contribution to the firm's profit and loss, then what I have said may not apply to you. You could indeed work fully remotely without understanding how your information is getting used by your PM to make portfolio decisions. But then what is the point? Your career in investment management is a dead end. And in most cases, you will eventually be let go because the funds hired you with the intention of ramping you to idea generation capacity. The strongest human connections are forged in person. Speaking for myself, despite working fully remotely throughout my time at my prior firm, I had a genuine desire to work in person with my PM and the senior analyst. They're experienced, they're smart, and well-connected. Why wouldn't I want to build lasting relationship with them, regardless of whether that position was my final destination on the buy side? I think one of the greatest perks of working at a hedge fund is precisely the opportunity to get to know intelligent, high net worth individuals on a very personal level. If you were on the sell side working in investment banking or equity research, what are the odds of having direct access to someone with 9+ figure net worth, given all the hierarchy? How could getting to know such individuals like portfolio managers in person ever be detrimental to your career? Investment management is one of the most meritocratic professions because performance is quantifiable by definition, unfortunately on a second-by-second basis. That said, as long as human beings are involved, things will always get subjective. Every job involves sales. You might want to accept that now. When you aim to persuade your portfolio manager to act on your stock recommendation, that's sales. When your PM decides your bonuses, if she likes you, it can't hurt the number. That's your successful salesmanship throughout the year paying off. That positive work attitude, eye contact, and the body language your PM observes you in person might just be that differentiator that gets your best ideas into the book, ultimately contributing significantly to the year-end P&L. And you want to get paid, right? You will make bad stock recommendations. You will be delusional to believe that people skills don't play a role in keeping your job when things go wrong. And building that relationship in person to be liked is the only goodwill that can shield you from being let go when you make mistakes. Promotions are also subjective. If you have been reading the news, the headlines have already suggested that compared to people who work in office, hybrid, or fully in office, remote employees have a 35% higher chance of getting fired and are 31% less likely to be promoted. Hedge funds are no different. If two junior analysts have made similar contribution to the firm, I, as the PM, will promote the one I like more. It's just human nature. Now you want to work remotely? Every founder, hedge fund, or other startup business wants to see productivity out of their employees. If you have been a founder or have family members who run businesses, you probably understand why the return to office trend is taking place. I doubt any sensible PM will be open to hiring fully remote junior analysts because they hired you with the vision of coaching you into an autonomous idea generator. And PM know you learn best in person as well, and they can get more wisdom into you in person. Most funds are small firms, and the PM, as the business operator, they want to cultivate a culture that will scale with the firm. Email communications and weekly Zoom meetings alone just cannot foster such a culture. I witnessed that in first person. You're being compensated well above average to work for a high net worth individual. There will be no shortage of talented individuals eager to learn and partake in the success of managing a large pool of assets. So the PM can ask whatever the hell they want out of their employees, which includes the demand to work fully in office. Why? Because they're paying the bills. Time is the most precious resource in investing because time spent on tasks that doesn't translate to portfolio decisions don't contribute to P&L. Being present in person is simply more efficient for work purposes. When you communicate via email, you need to carefully consider your phrasing. During Zoom meetings, you know your PM is likely multitasking. Remember, it's always your responsibility to persuade your PM to act on your stock recommendation. If they're responding to emails during your stock pitch, it really undermines your effort and it hurts your career. And in-person communication can also mitigate so many informational asymmetries that can arise when you forgot to document an assumption or reasoning for a forecast. And less time spent on rectifying informational gap means more time available to explore ideas that could drive P&L. And PMs recognize this, which is why many insist on fully in-person work. It's beneficial for the firm, and frankly, it's beneficial for you. You need to stop inquiring about fully remote hedge fund roles. If they exist, you should avoid taking them. That applies to mutual funds or sell-side analysts as well. I highly doubt any sensible senior people will let junior analysts work fully remotely in a profession that's apprentice-based, especially if it's your first job in the field. The exception to everything I've said in this video will be for experienced investors. Even then, if you're transitioning to a new fund, it's smart for you to demonstrate your capabilities in person first before gradually transitioning to a hybrid or fully remote arrangement over time as you earn trust. And if you have idea generation responsibility or you will be running carve-outs, fully remote work can be appealing, especially if you don't want to relocate for a new job. But I only recommend that for the true grown-ups. If you want to hear more of my take on the investment management industry, I have two great videos for you in the upcoming screen.